Hello, my name is J. Edward Goldman, and I'm a psychotherapist in West Los Angeles. I would like to tell you a little bit today about what it is that I do and how what I do is different than what many other helpers and supposed helpers are doing in Los Angeles. Just to give you a little bit of information about what an MFT is, what a psychotherapist is, what a life coach is, all the professional people that could help you and the non-professional people. I just want to give you some quick distinctions so that you can make the best choice for yourself as the consumer out there and as the client. I'd like you to be able to get the help that's going to be most effective for you and to spend your money wisely. Because the economy's kind of bad. It's tough times out there, and we want to make sure that we get the best help available to us rather than just someone that says that they can help us, but who doesn't have the education, experience, license, credential, so on and so forth to do so. So it's very important. I am a marriage and family therapist. You'll see the MFT by my name. That's what that refers to. This does not mean that I only work with married couples or unmarried couples or families. That's part of what I do. I've worked with a lot of unmarried and married couples. I've done sessions with families. I enjoy that type of work. It's very interesting. But predominantly I work with individuals. Individuals like you who might be unhappy, stuck in their life, their career, their relationships, have a lot of anxiety and fear, depression, needing to go through some kind of transition to be happier. Those are the type of people that I help, individuals. So it's a little misleading with the title of my profession, which is MFT. As you see behind me, there's a degree on the wall, or rather a license. That's my MFT license. It took me about 10 years to get it, and combine undergraduate, graduate education, all the experience I had to get supervised before I was licensed, and then over the past year that I've been licensed as well. It needs to be renewed in 2015. You can verify whether a MFT or an LCSW, which is a social worker, has a license that's valid at the bbs.gov. They have an online license verification. So that's an important thing for you as a consumer to know, so that you know you're really going to a professional who knows what they're doing, and that you have protection as a consumer in case you're not getting the help that you need or that you desire, if something unethical is happening or something of that sort. Now, there are also psychiatrists who prescribe medication. They are medical doctors specializing in psychiatry. Occasionally, clients will need that. Most often, you will not need medication. So it just depends. I sometimes refer clients to psychiatrists if they have very severe depression, severe anxiety, severe disorders that psychotherapy can't address as well as medication and psychiatry can address. I also occasionally refer clients to psychologists for specific types of testing and assessments. Psychologists are very good at that. Some psychiatrists or psychologists are good at psychotherapy, talk therapy, and they will sit with you for 15 minutes or an hour each week or every other week, and they will really engage with you and be great listeners and help you solve your life problems, like MFTs do, or social workers. So there's a lot of different options in terms of professionals, but generally speaking, if you want psychotherapy, you're going to go to an MFT like me. Now, psychotherapy is a term that's confusing to people. There are different types of therapy out there these days: physical therapy, massage therapy. So psychotherapy is referring to psychology, or the psyche, which is the mind. So it's oriented towards healing the mind, improving mental, emotional functioning. It is very much mind-body, because there's absolutely a connection between those two things. They're really just two sides of the same coin. So that's what psychotherapy is referring to. Sometimes people joke around, psycho as some sort of crazy person or antisocial person or sociopath or psychopath would be part of that. Of course, that's not true. It's kind of funny. Some people think that therapists themselves are therapists because they're, quote, crazy, very negative term, or that they have so many problems or issues and that's why they're a therapist and that's why they want to help people. Well, in some cases that's true. And as a matter of fact, many therapists have done a lot of their own therapy in the past. They've had their own therapist. They're currently doing therapy. So it might be true that they've been through a lot in their life. And the difference between a therapist and your average person is that they're very aware of what their issues are, and they're actively working on those issues and growing and becoming a happier person. And they're gaining power and freedom over everything in the past because they're working on it. So I think it would make more sense to get help from someone who's had challenges in life and who has overcame those challenges, rather than someone who's been smooth sailing the whole time, who's had an easy life, who hasn't been challenged. That type of person might not be able to help you as much as a person who's struggled and overcame and grown. So psychotherapy is a great thing. It's very powerful. The most common type of psychotherapy is cognitive behavioral therapy. It is widely supported by research. It has been shown to be effective time and again. CBT, as it's called, is just as effective, or in some cases more effective, than any type of medication. And even if you feel that you need medication combined with CBT is the most effective type of treatment for a variety of problems and disorders. That's the way that I was trained at University of San Francisco, where I received my master's in psychology, is generally with a CBT model. I have adapted that to my power therapy model and my multicultural perspective and everything else I'm interested in as a therapist. But it's essentially looking at thoughts, attitudes, mindsets, how those feed into emotions and then behaviors, and how it creates a circle in your life that you can't seem to break out of without someone who holds up a therapeutic mirror and shows you what's happening, teaches you and hears you deeply and engages with you. That's sort of what the process of therapy is like. There's definitely a lot of teaching and learning that occurs, and it's not always past oriented. It's often oriented in the present. It's the past as it affects your present moment and into your future, what you're hoping to achieve. So this idea that therapy is just endless dwelling in the past and I don't want to stay in the past, that's a misconception. So it's a misconception that therapy is always past oriented, or that psychotherapists are somehow crazy and that they can't help you better than anyone else. Both of those things are not true. That is not the modern state of psychotherapy. So that is a little bit about psychotherapy and marriage and family therapy. I also want to say that MFTs are systemic in their approach. So we look at the family system that you came from, the system of society, the culture, the gender that you're part of, the political and economic factors. All these things feed into who you are. You're part of multiple systems and layers. And that's something that MFTs address. Doesn't mean you always have to talk about your family. Doesn't mean you always have to talk about the past. But that's the framework that we're viewing your problems through. And different professions and different theories and orientations of psychotherapy will have different ways of doing that. My particular orientation is integrative, but it's also very systemic. That is power therapy, which I explain in another video that I hope you can watch. So that's a little bit about MFTs, psychotherapists, what that all means. Now I'd like to talk to you about non-professional, paraprofessionals, as we call them, or pseudo-professionals, people that purport to be able to help you, but that might not really have any education, or even if they have some education, it might not be enough education for them to really know how to deal with a particular problem or to help you achieve a goal. And these are most often known as life coaches. There are probably hundreds and thousands of life coaches all around you in Los Angeles. As a matter of fact, you could be a life coach. Any person that makes a card, that makes a website, that tells other people they're a life coach, that's actually a life coach. There's no licensure. The state has not figured out yet how to regulate life coaching. That's something that will probably happen, hopefully, for the protection of consumers. In the same way that, I have the Board of Behavioral Sciences regulating my profession, hopefully the state of California will come up with a way to regulate life coaching, because there's a lot of abuse going on. There's a lot of money that's being wasted, and people are not being helped because these life coaches don't actually know how to help you. So life coaches often might not even have a bachelor's degree, might not have probably don't have a master's degree or a PsyD or a PhD. In some cases, they might have a bachelor's or a master's. It might not be in psychology. It might be in another profession. And then they don't have a license in addition to their education and their degree, because those are separate things, because there is no license. The majority of life coaches that I meet in Los Angeles really have nothing to speak of except their own life experiences. And sometimes people can help you through their life experiences. They can coach you, they can give you advice, they can talk you through, they can encourage you. And that's essentially what life coaching seems to be, although there's not really any specific definition. It's very up in the air. It's whatever people want it to be. But it tends to be oriented towards advice, and somebody's telling you what to do. Now, we all know in Los Angeles that we're surrounded by people on all sides telling us what we should do, what's the best thing to do, what they would do if they were in our shoes. That constantly happens. That's the culture of Los Angeles. Many of us get that from our families, friends, acquaintances, people we work with, so on and so forth. So if you go and pay a life coach, which sometimes they're charging, over $100, comparable to what therapists might charge, you're essentially paying for that type of help. If you're looking for more of that sort of thing, that's what you'll get from a life coach. If you're looking for something different, qualitatively different, and very powerful and very interesting, psychotherapy is the way to go. It's a very old profession. Started with a guy named Sigmund Freud. He recently had a birthday. He's kind of the father or grandfather of psychotherapy. And, his approach tended to focus a lot on the past and on dreams and on sexual themes. And we've come a long way from Sigmund Freud, a very long way, to cognitive behavioral approaches and even more modern approaches, such as narrative therapy and multicultural therapy and power therapy, the theory and approach that I'm developing. So we're talking about hundreds of years of theory, of research. We're talking about approaches that are proven to work through scientific and social scientific processes. This is where psychotherapy is coming from. The essence of psychotherapy is deep, active, reflective listening, empathy, unconditional positive regard. So most of us are used to being conditionally loved throughout our lives and only loved in certain ways and for certain things. Therapy gives you something else. It gives you, that unconditional love to begin with and support. And then over time, therapy becomes a little more confrontational, a little more encouraging, moving you towards action and more authentic and genuine. So therapy is a very powerful thing. And then through that process, you start to learn tools. The therapist starts to teach you coping skills and how to manage your anxiety and your fears, how to confront them, how to work on your depressive mindset, how to change your thought patterns, or to let your thoughts come into your head and to leave your head. What we call mindfulness, relaxation, how the mind and the body interact, how mental health is absolutely holistic and integrative. And if you're not leading a healthy life in many ways, in your body, in your soul, then your mental and your emotional health will not be good either. So all of these things are included in psychotherapy. And I really think that a lot of you people out there could benefit from psychotherapy. A lot of people in Los Angeles say, well, I need it. Everybody I know needs it. They have friends and family that need it. It's not really about who needs it or doesn't. That's kind of a false alternative. It's something you could use. It's something that could really improve your life. Money that is absolutely well spent, that could lead to concrete, real changes. Life coaching probably wouldn't be able to do that. Even being on a certain kind of medication would not really change your life. It would reduce some of your symptoms, take away some of the depression, take away some of the anxiety. Can't really make a change. You still need psychotherapy to help you with that. So I really hope that you learned something from this video. My name is J. Edward Goldman, and I'm a psychotherapist here in West LA. My office is 2001 South Barrington Avenue. My website is www.powertherapyla.com. So check that out for more information. I will be posting more videos like this, explaining my approach and trying to give you as much information as possible. So have a nice day and good luck finding help out there. Thanks for watching.